Hey everyone, Ed Dellis, steering wheel guy here. The whole thing about PersonaGrip is I spent 30 years on this project. Being that Bobby Ray Hall was actually one of the very first to get a PersonaGrip on his steering wheel, but he didn't let me cut the suede. It was just simply an overwrap and bulked it up too much of the girth, and he ended up not using it. And that's when I went ahead and bought a personal Nardi steering wheel, molded it, and then brought it down to Miami to let MOC it. And of course, Emerson won the Indy 500 with my serial number 1 steering wheel. This wheel right here was done for Michael Schumacher. And I don't know if you can see it here. It's pretty crude by comparison. I hadn't yet discovered the texturizing process or the embossing and the burnishing that goes on now. Fast forward 30 years, you learn things. You learn things each time you do it. And in fact, serial number 444 here is going to a driver that I've known since basically my high school or college days. And this is really going to be the last steering wheel I do as PersonaGrip 1.0. PersonaGrip 2.0, I have a rep in North Carolina who will continue to do what I was doing. I will still mold the wheels, but he's going to coordinate the sales. It's both an art and a science, okay? The science being the analysis of how the hand and fingers move as the wheel is being steered. For instance, this right here is an index roller that helps prevent blisters here. And then in the event of a kickback, you need to roll this over so that you have a thumb release so the driver can get their hand out. Now this one has basically a 10 and 2 home position. Being that it's on a very vertical wheel, you now have wings here supporting the hand. In other words, there's a vertical component of PersonaGrip here, whereas at 3 and 9, the thumb is really what's supporting the arms in terms of the vertical weight. Now, for shuffle steering, there are positions here that are designed to aid in the leveraging effect as you steer the car. Point being, when a steering wheel is done, and I watch videos, in-car videos, watching how the hand moves in and out of, let's say, paddle grips, which unfortunately, paddle shifting requires the driver to open their hand. When they open their hand, they really have no turning ability on it, or let's just say it's reduced significantly. So you have to have these leveraging surfaces, especially on a paddle shifted wheel, because what you end up doing is you end up with what's called a pinch grip, as opposed to when the fingers wrap around, that's called a power grip. So paddle wheels it's really important that you start adding significant wings and leveraging surfaces, as well as fluting, deep fluting on the backside. Now, there are also considerations involved with pronation. Some drivers are hand-fisted. Their hand stays relatively in place as they turn. Others pronate. Michael Schumacher did that. So we've got texturizing outside of the home position, because a wet glove can actually have a micro gearing effect with a wet glove going into the surface, because when you move outside of the primary home position, you can't add too much leveraging surface, because during the heat of the moment he grabs, you don't know if he's going to grab exactly in the home position or one digit off, so you can't wing it too heavily. Ditto here on 4 and 8. But at the 3 and 9, where the hand settles going down the straight, there might be a fold in the glove here. So what you do is you leave it burnished, you leave it smooth, so that they can wiggle their hands and work that fold out. So there's a whole science to this. In fact, what was it now, 2, 3, 4 years ago, they asked me to visit Long Beach and inspect the driver's steering wheels and actually modify them, because they were bringing the top wing here too far around, and they were breaking their driver's thumb. So again, there's a whole science to this. It's both an art and a science, okay? I have experimented and actually did what I call buried elements. In other words, the material here in the past, in fact, here it is with Michael's wheel. I added a palm swell here that was welded onto the surface. Whereas all the lessons that I've learned over the years from top drivers, in fact, When Fernando and I did a wheel at Indy, we worked on this bottom wing on the face here. So that was something I learned from him. And over the years, think about it, you learn something from every grip you do. PersonaGrip being remoldable, it allows the driver to fine tune. Now, IndyCar, the teams, what they're doing is they're using expanded foam in molds, or they're using two-part epoxy types or two-part foams that kick, and they're not tunable. So if you choose to use a material like that, please do not go radical like this, because this requires tuning, fine tuning. You know, after I laid the material here, this being a buried element designed with a single piece cover. So now the material is underneath, and I can deep heat into the material that I've laid, the design elements that I've laid underneath, and they can now be molded afterwards and remolded over and over again. That's the big announcement.